Hello everyone and welcome back to Superboy Beyond. I'm your host Tom Gallagher with my co-host Chris Jacobsen, and we have another of our patented commentaries for you today. We're going to be doing another season 4 episode this week, and this is Out of Luck, which is an episode that I don't remember the last time I saw this one, but as soon as Chris told me what the basic gist of it was, I remember quite liking it. Let's see if my memory is actually, correct in this. Is it a good episode, or is it just one that I happen to see in the right frame of mind?
Right.
Should be interesting. I don't remember who's the main guest star in this. Is there anybody we would recognize?
I know he's a famous actor, but I don't know. I never saw him in anything besides this.
Okay, well,
that I can remember.
During the episode, maybe I'll recognize him. If not, at the end of this commentary, I'll look him up on IMDb and just see what else I might know him from. But yeah, if this is your first time watching one of our commentaries, this is not like a typical YouTube reaction video. You're not going to be hearing any audio from the episode. What you will see, however, is in the middle there, you'll see a very heavily filtered version of the episode. It's literally made of white dots. This is purely so you can keep in time with us, because it is very easy to get out of sync, especially if you need to, pause the video halfway through for whatever reason. It lets you keep in time. That's all it's for. Anyway, this is season 4, episode 16, Out of Luck. In 3, 2, 1, play. And since I don't like talking about the intro sequence, I may as well use this time now to look him up on IMDb. Even if this is my personal favourite version of the intro.
And it's funny, most of the sequences that they're using in the intro for seasons 3 and 4 are from season 2.
Although it's nice to see the brief shot there from Mind Games. It's always nice to see something from that episode because it's such a good one.
Probably one of the best of season 3.
Yeah, so the guest star in this is named, Pat Cupo, or Patrick Cupo, as he's listed on IMDb. And I'm scrolling through, and no, there's nothing really that I would know. He's in a single episode of Columbo, but it was in 2003, so it was during the bad period of Columbo.
Well, I don't know if they were the bad period of Columbo. It's just we'll just call
not
them
as good. They're weaker than the original, the weakest area. He was also in an episode of Deep Space Nine as a character named Bajoran Man, so basically an extra. And he was in an episode of The Flash in 1990 as a lounge lizard.
Yeah.
I've made no secret. I've only seen very few bits from that Flash series. At some point, we will actually have to watch it, and maybe we'll do commentaries on it. That could be fun. For my first time watching it.
The old man here playing Mr. Corrigan. We've seen him in other episodes of Superboy.
Yeah, I was trying to place where though.
Season 1, the Bird Woman of the Swamps. He's the office manager that works for the corrupt construction magnate.
Was he also in Roads Not Taken Part 2?
Yes.
He was one of the sovereigns. Yeah.
He's the one who gets killed.
Yeah, and the bearded guy turns away. Oh, sovereign, no, please. The
only thing about that episode that really annoys me is that one of those thugs should have been an alternate version of Mr. Jackson.
That would have been cool. Especially since, one of them, they're both, in their later years.
Yeah.
But then I don't know, I don't know that there's any version of Jackson that would join the Sovereign, to be honest.
Mm.
You know, he can be a bit grumpy at times, but he was always a good man. Granted, it's, you know, parallel universe. Superboy is that evil. Who's to say Jackson isn't too? I wouldn't even be surprised if Jackson is not even alive in that universe, to be honest, because we know that he showed up in Smallville right after the Clark's ship crashed and found the crystal.
Right.
Maybe the crippled guy would have taken him out at some point. Who knows? I could see there being an alternate version of Rites of Passage where the Sovereign takes out Jackson because he's got this crystal that belongs to him.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, I know it's just like the Universal backlot. It's just an ongoing street set that probably is still standing to this day because they built them to last. But I tell you what, it's a bloody good set. Even if the road looks like it's from a different period of history.
Then again, there are some cities that still have cobblestone streets. I mean, Boston being one of them.
I like cobblestone. My dad's side of the family used to have a business, just a engineering place in Wimbledon, and literally to get to the little building, you had to go down this little alleyway street, and it was the only street in the area. But as you started walking down it, it was all cobblestones, and as you went through, it was like walking back in time. By the time you reached the end of this tunnel where the building was,
right,
it was like you had stepped back in time to the Victorian age. I used to love that when I was a kid. I couldn't care less about actually going into the building where my dad was working, but
you love the
I loved that street. Yeah, it was cool. And there it is, the coin, the evil coin. Sorry, let's get back to this episode. So yeah, he's received the lucky coin. That's
lucky for him. Everybody else, bad luck.
Yeah. Oh. I'm sorry, Clark, though. You've got superpowers. Could you not give him a hand, maybe?
He could. But
he could fly in as Superboy and say, Clark's been complaining about the roof, so I'm going to go fix it. I'll see you in a bit.
This is a little bit of this scene here is a little bit of comedy that I love. I think this is also a No Jackson episode.
Yeah, I don't remember Jackson having anything to do with this particular episode. But then, like I say, my memory of this one is pretty hazy. He even poses for a photo. I love that. Just a photo on the front cover, thumbs up.
Yeah.
That's great.
Come on, Lana. Everybody knows you eat a jelly donut with the hole towards your face.
Yeah. It's funny
this
every time I see someone do that
episode, even though it's very serious.
But that's something Superboy always did well. Even like this episode, it's still got the slightly darker tone that season 3 and 4 is known for. But they're not afraid to be funny. It just makes it clear that this is the show probably at the height of their confidence in what they were doing.
Yeah.
It's funny with the donut though. That just reminds me of a story of my granddad. My dad was telling me about. My granddad worked in a little bakery when he was a kid after school, and what his job was literally pumping the donuts full of jelly. Like they had a machine, and it was like one pump and it's done. He once saw this like proper snobby rich old lady in a big fur coat outside, literally shouting at a homeless man, and then cross the road and start to walk in. He put 4 pumps of jelly in that donut. It exploded when she bit into it.
And of course, you have to have the obligatory scene with, the nuns when you're dealing with comedy.
Mm. If you want a really funny moment in this scene, it could be really funny if you just show that he quickly X-rays their face to make sure it's not Lex and Dana. He's like, sorry, I've had bad experiences with nuns. Oh, I like this set. Very atmospheric. It's funny, actually. It almost looks like a much larger version of the barn from Smallville.
Yeah.
It also looks quite a bit like especially with that bit they're standing on now. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the same building from Test of Time as well. Because I'm pretty sure that walkway they're standing on might be the one they were standing on looking down as, when Superboy makes his bluff.
Mm. Well, one thing this show was good at is, reusing props and sets and just redressing them so it looks like a completely different place.
Yeah, like the lighting right now is completely different to Test of Time. All those cobwebs add an awful lot. Just so much atmosphere. They've clearly got the smoke machine going as well.
Yeah.
Which is funny because one of the angles clearly has a lot more smoke than the other. Well, they seem to have evened it out now.
And I have to say, the way they have this lead gangster dressed is very different than what you would normally see in a show with gangsters.
I
mean, he looks like, just your grandfather.
Yeah. Maybe they could have put like a gold chain or something around his neck, like not a big one, not like bling, but just something more than a cardigan. I swear talking of Test of Time, I swear they've got him dressed like the old man from Test of Time that turned out to be a robot.
It probably is the same costume.
It probably is, yeah. Just a reused cardigan. I do like this guy playing, what's his name, the lucky guy, though.
Charlie Carmichael.
He's playing it with humor, but I think he's doing a good job.
Very cocky, the way he's playing it.
Yeah, I like that. See, it looked like Lana was about to say stop being superstitious, but then she didn't want to walk under the ladder either. Man, you can tell this is Florida, can't you?
Yeah.
I might have even been to this street. It looks so familiar. When I was, I've been to Florida a few times. Yeah, don't walk under the ladder. Bad luck. I'm sorry, but when you're making a movie, don't you usually like cordon stuff off so that it's obvious so nobody can just arrive? Superboy, if they were shooting, if it was more professional, maybe he would have seen that it was a movie, but very odd. Still, the way everybody's luck is lately, he probably would have just ran straight into her. That car. Tell you what, I wish I was better at, carving and metalwork or something, or I'd try and make a replica of that coin, the little devil head on it.
Yeah.
Somewhere I have got a replica of the Two-Face coin from Batman Forever, but I have no idea where it is now. I think it literally just came with the action figure, to be honest.
Yeah, there were two different versions of that coin. One that was scarred and one that was not scarred.
Oh yeah, no, mine was the scarred one. It was two-headed, a head on both sides, but one side, cuts down it.
Yeah,
it was definitely the one for Batman Forever, though, because it was clearly not the one from the animated series.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's great. The guy that's playing, this dude, I forget his name. I keep forgetting. But he's playing this character with a great mix of like cockiness, but also he's bumbling.
Yeah.
He clearly has no idea what he's doing. The only reason he's successful right now is because he's lucky. But he's playing it so well. It's always annoying, though, when I see a good guest star in Superboy, because it makes me wish they'd used him in multiple episodes, knowing this is the only time. Although I'll tell you what, if they didn't have him playing this character, that guy that played Johnny Casanova probably would have done well in this role.
Mark Holton.
Yeah, Mark Holton. He would be good in this role, I think. He was probably busy with one of the Leprechaun movies, because I think that's what Mark Jones told us.
Yeah. Although most people would have remembered that he was in the show already as a different character.
But that happens with Superboy, doesn't it? In this very episode, we've got actors returned from previous episodes as different characters.
Yeah, but remember, they mostly use the returning characters, when they're,
less
background
recognizable.
characters.
Although I still can't get over Lieutenant Harris showing up as a weapons dealer in season 4. That was weird. Was it season 4 or season 3 Rebirth?
Season 3.
Right.
But then again, he had a full beard at that point, so most people
He didn't look like Harris, to be fair, yeah. But then, they could have, when they had Johnny Casanova, he was a very specifically dressed character. Put him in a different outfit.
Clean him up.
Maybe clean him up a bit, put him in a different outfit. Maybe, put a mustache on him or something. Or just put him in glasses, It's the DC universe. You put anyone in glasses, they're instantly unrecognizable. As we all know.
Yep.
I do love the practical effects on Superboy, Just holding up that thing, It's not a hugely difficult effect, but it worked.
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah, it's probably just being suspended from a wire, and he's just holding on to it, making it look
it's probably
like
made of foam. It probably weighs like nothing.
Yeah.
It's probably like, rubber bricks, Yeah, I knew I recognized him from something. And as soon as you mentioned the first one, I was like, oh, wait, but I think, Road's Not Taken Part 2. That guy with the mustache, that henchman with the mustache, was in another episode as well. I'm sure of it. Don't know which one, but he was definitely in another episode of Superboy.
Probably playing another gangster.
Probably. Yeah, the actor Sam Ayers, according to IMDb. So this guy in the in the compactor right now wasn't just Woman of the Swamps, and wasn't just Roads Not Taken. He was also in Mutant as Professor Craig Lipcott.
That's right. He was also Professor Lipcott.
Yeah.
2 episodes in season 1, nothing in season 2.
Then 1 in 3 and 1 in 4. I kind of love that, though. I love when they reuse actors so many times like that.
You know what my headcanon on it is?
Mm.
He's one of a set of identical triplets who were separated at birth.
Yeah. I think I've worked out. I know where that guy appeared in another episode of Superboy, and it was another one we did quite recently. It was season 3. He was in The Golem. He played a character called Jonah.
Okay.
I assume that's one of the Nazis or something.
Probably.
It might just be that I'm recognising him from something else. It's annoying with IMDb because a lot of actors from this era don't even have headshots on their profiles, so you just have to assume.
Yeah.
He lost the coin. It's unlucky.
What was it that the mob boss was telling him? Luck eventually runs out.
He was pushing his luck, and yeah, he used up the power. Oh. I like that ending, but I will say the fact that it never comes back annoys me a little bit.
Well, we've talked about this before, that things like this in Superboy always happen. Things that are done and then never referenced again. The red K.
Yeah.
The coin.
Maybe we'll find a way to do it. That coin's got to have something to do with Mr. DeVille from Carnival. It's got, because it's got the devil on it.
Yeah.
And he is the devil. So maybe that will come into play somehow when we do our DeVille Constantine Brimstone episode. Yeah. Maybe the coin is part of it. Although it'd be really funny to actually just to have that coin come back and it turns out that guard is just a genuinely good person. So no bad luck was happening because he's not an arsehole.
Yeah.
Maybe it's actually, as long as it's in the hands of a good guy, maybe the devil has no power over it. So he's actually just causing good luck for people. I don't know. We could come up with some way to mess with the rules, maybe.
Yeah.
It's funny, all these little pieces keep coming together though for that Brimstone Constantine DeVille episode. So yeah,
we always,
when it comes time to actually write it.
Yeah, we always seem to be able to mine the vault, as it were, when it comes to ideas for our season 5 episodes.
Mm.
Though I would kind of leave, Brimstone, Constantine, and DeVille for season 6. Because we've got a lot of stuff planned for 5 already.
True. Yeah, maybe we will. Maybe season 6 can be the supernatural season, We can also bring in some of these other supernatural based characters, maybe Zatanna can show up and all of that stuff.
Yep.
That could be fun. Yeah. I really enjoyed this episode, I wouldn't say that it's one of the all-time greats, but thoroughly enjoyable.
Yeah, I mean, it may not be a great episode, but it's
a solid one.
Yeah, it's a solid one. It keeps you engaged. The
humor works.
Yeah, the humor works in this. Although, as you said, I think he really should have been X-raying them to make sure that they weren't Lex and Darla.
Yeah, Superboy has had bad experiences when it comes to nuns.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, as well, I wonder if he was, I know obviously it's just a TV show, but in the universe of the show, I wonder if when all of this bad stuff starts happening, if he's like, I wonder if those nuns were Lex and Darla. Have they done something to me? Because last time he interacted with nuns, suddenly his powers went haywire. And he almost,
Yeah.
That's a fun episode, though. It's a shame we recorded our commentary on that so recently because I kind of want to watch it again. Oh, well. At some point when we've done commentaries on every single episode, we'll start our rewatch thing where we actually start watching them again, but in order. So, yeah, that would be fun. So we will get to do that again.
Yep.
Yeah, no, really fun episode. I wish we'd gotten a slightly better look at the coin.
Excuse me.
Bless you. But yeah, that coin, I kind of want to make a replica, but I have no clue how to even do it because I don't know how to make something out of metal, But, maybe if there was a better view of it, somebody out there might be able to 3D print one or something. I think it would be a pretty cool little thing for a Superboy fan to have. If anybody out there does have a 3D printer, maybe you can make one for yourself and just send us a picture. I'd like to see that.
Or even send us one.
Yeah, providing it doesn't cost them money.
Hex not included, though.
What's that?
Hex not included.
Yeah, hopefully not. I'd laugh if it does, hold some sort of power, but never mind. Yeah, no, thoroughly enjoyable episode. It was really cool seeing multiple guest stars from previous episodes come back. Assuming that one guy is the guy from Golem, and I wasn't just looking at the wrong name on IMDb because there was no headshot, so it was difficult to tell. But I think it was him.
Yeah.
Good episode. Not a great one. A good one.
What would you give your rating of this one?
On the season 4 scale, season 4 is not quite as good as season 3. So I'd be tempted to go a little bit higher than I would if this came a season earlier.
Right.
7.5, maybe. I can't go any higher than that, really.
Yeah.
I think that's still a very solid score.
Yeah. That's what I would give it. What is good for me is, of course, the acting. Gerard is great in it. Lana, Stacy is
Always
great in it. Pat Cupo as our guest villain. He is absolutely
he was just
enjoyable.
Fun to watch, wasn't he? He was just so much fun. Not as fun as Johnny Casanova, but I don't think there are many villains in Superboy that were, even though Johnny Casanova is not a good episode. He's just so charismatic that he makes it brilliant. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, every time you watch Johnny Casanova, you're like the one gangster who says, "Yeah, boss, I don't want to kill him. I want to go out. I want to go and play cards with him and smoke cigars."
Yeah, I do. I know it's supposed to be like, oh, there's some sort of weird sort of magic going on that's making people instantly like him, but that's not happening to us. And yet he's great,
Yeah.
Love that guy.
It just goes to the talent that is Mark Holton.
Absolutely. Because there's not much to that character on the script. Like when you actually just break down that episode, there's not that much to it. It's quite a basic episode. Yet he brings just so much to it, Yeah. It's like he was just
all that story really was, Johnny Casanova, was Jekyll and Hyde, but in a comedic way.
Yeah. Which is why it works, to be fair. It didn't need to be anything special. Doesn't need to be one of the best episodes of all time. It's just, it's okay that it's a fun one. And I think this episode is basically the same. It's just a very fun episode. The only thing that, like I say, would have made it better is if Mark Holton was playing that character. But I thought the actor they did have in there was really, really good, really enjoyable. And he was so good that it's just still annoying me that he didn't appear in any other episodes. I might have to check out, some of the other stuff on his IMDb, and if there's any shows or whatever that I'm a fan of, maybe I'll go back and look for him. But
yeah,
I am working my way through Columbo, so eventually I'm going to get to Columbo Likes the Nightlife. Yeah, which I assume is the one where he solves the murder in a nightclub.
Probably.
I've seen the finale, like the final wrap up of that episode, with the just one more thing sequences, everybody likes to call them. That's always the way, isn't it? Columbo's final scene is always the just one more thing scene. When he says that, you're fucked.
Yeah, that's why I refer to, because remember, I work in customer service. That's why I refer to some of our customers who call in, and as Columbos, because there's always just one more thing, and then you finish with that, and then there's just one more thing.
Oh, it's funny though, because now we're talking about Columbo. We did discuss that. We were talking about who did we have in mind for Bullock when we get to Gotham City, and I did change it to John Goodman just because I think he looks more like you expect Bullock to look. But I think our original choice was Peter Falk.
Yes.
So maybe if John Goodman stays in that role now, we'll have to find something else for Peter Falk. But I'm sure that won't be a problem because, he's just so good. Yeah, we'll find something for him. He's too good not to use. But I don't know. John Goodman as Harvey Bullock, I think, would be fantastic, Maybe
Absolutely.
in the new DCU. I mean, John Goodman's not that old. He could still do it. A little bit older than I perhaps would have chosen, but he'd be great.
Yeah.
And
anyway, just for our viewers, just to let you guys know, upcoming.
Yes.
I have finally finished Metallo: The Next Generation. So within the next few weeks from seeing this,
it'll be next week, I imagine. We'll try and record next week.
But I'm saying, once this has been released, within the next few weeks from that, you guys will see Metallo: The Next Generation, and there are some surprises in it. I know you were very pleased with how it came out.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the script. I thought it was a really fun story. It did play with my expectations a little bit, just purely because it's not the most action-packed, although when the action happens, it's big and bold, and it's like Superman, I don't want to give too much away, but, it's a Metallo fight scene. Superman, he's not great when Kryptonite's involved, let's say. That's hardly a spoiler after 4 seasons,
But we do have
a
few guest stars in the episode.
Here's a new character introduced, which I'm excited for people to... I'm excited to see how many people recognize who it is, because we like to pull from the comics here.
We have finally brought in Bruno Mannheim from Intergang.
Indeed.
And our choice for Bruno Mannheim is Robert Davi.
Indeed.
One of the greatest bad guys of movies.
Oh, yeah. He's great in Stargate Atlantis. I know we've talked about it in the past, but he's a recurring villain on Stargate Atlantis, and he brings such depth to the character that I even feel wrong just calling him a villain. Like, he's not the villain. He's just an antagonist of the show. You totally understand where he's coming from, and he's doing everything he can for his people. Yeah, he's also kind of a monster. It's great. It's very similar to... It's one of the few things that I thought was really good about the DCEU. It's kind of like General Zod, Everything he's doing is for Krypton, even though he is most definitely a monster. So it's a very similar sort of tone there with the character. But no, Robert Davi is great. Because this is 1993 in the universe of season 5. Supposedly that's when it released. I'm mostly for the screenshots of him, I've just taken some screenshots of his gangster character from 007 License to Kill. Just purely because he wears this cool white, he's like, there's this brilliant white suit that he wears at one point with a black shirt, and it's just so 80s, early 90s gangster that I just thought, I'll put Bruno Mannheim in that suit. Why not? You know, and it looks great. You know, it looks like Bruno Mannheim, as you would expect. We could also announce some of the other casting. You know, we've got Dan Turpin of the Metropolis Special. Is it Special Crimes Unit? Is that what they call it?
Yes, SCU.
The SCU. You know, and Dan Turpin is played by Mike Starr from Dumb and Dumber. And, you know, Ed Wood and that episode of The Office where Michael thinks the insurance agent is a gangster trying to extort money out of him. Brilliant episode. One of the all-time best Office episodes, in my opinion, although a lot of people... I know it's a kind of divisive one for some people. Not everybody likes it, but I like that one. And just purely because I think Mike Starr is fucking great. He's one of my favourite character actors. So that's good. And obviously we've already announced who's playing Maggie Sawyer, and that's Farrah Fawcett from Lois and Clark, who basically played the same character in that, except not a lesbian. That's basically the only difference those characters had. You know?
There is one character who does make reference to the fact that Sawyer is gay in the
Mannheim. Mannheim has a little throwaway line, if I remember.
No, it's not Mannheim. It's
Skull? Atomic Skull says it.
One of the Skull agents says it.
Right. Yeah, and it's just a throwaway line. You're not going to go too far with it purely because we're having to write this on the understanding that it's 1993. So while we would probably just love to just make her clearly a lesbian, put her in a relationship with a woman who it doesn't matter at this point, we'd love to be able to do that. But in 1993, there's no way they would have let that go on television. I mean, look at how much trouble they had with the Willow and Tara relationship in Buffy.
You know? And that was only a couple of years after that.
Yeah. I mean, look at, Star Trek Deep Space Nine, when they had the episode where Jadzia Dax meets her ex-wife, or Curzon Dax, or the one before that maybe, ex-wife.
Yeah.
And there's a lesbian kiss in it. They got so many complaints. And that was, I think, even a year or two after when this show is supposed to be set. So as much as we hate it, we have to play that side of the character in subtext, just because we're imposing rules on ourselves just to make it fun. Makes it more of a challenge, you know.
Yep.
But,
and also I pulled from Lois and Clark a little bit. We introduce a classic Superman character, Mayor Frank Berkowitz. And like Lois and Clark, he is played by the late, great Sonny Bono.
Yeah, I'm not overly familiar with Sonny Bono, to be honest. I mostly know him as the guy from Sonny and Cher. I always forget that he's even in Lois and Clark.
Don't forget he was also the Mad Bomber in Airplane 2, the sequel.
Really? I need to watch that again. It's been too long. Best scene in that movie, though, is still the William Shatner stuff, Especially when he looks in the periscope and sees the Enterprise. And his face afterwards, just great. At the Airplane movies, both of them are great. I know some people say, the second one's basically just a rehash of the third. And it is. But it's just as funny as the first one,
Yep.
Anyway, do hope you've all enjoyed this episode. Next week, because we'll be recording next week, you'll get the first episode, or not the first episode, but the next episode of Season 5, Metallo, The Next Generation. So look out for that. Thank you all so much. Goodbye.